Dobar dan, drago mi je da vidim vas. I will speak in English, however, because I think it will be easier for me. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dragaj, Mr. Marton, it's a real pleasure to having heard your introductory speeches. And first of all, I have to apologize not for having been able to come physically today to Zrenjanin, but this is life, and I do apologize. Please take my apologizes. I'm very happy, on the other hand, that we have the opportunity to communicate via the modern technology, which demonstrates that both in NATO and in Serbia, we are able to see quite easily each other and to understand each other quite easily. I'm quite happy as well to see the title of this conference, which is an important title, Serbia with Powerful Allies or Neutral. I think any debate on the future security priorities of such a country like Serbia, which is a European country, a very important one, is worth pursuing. And on our side, on the NATO side, we will try to introduce a little bit the discussion on, since I'm giving the opening speech, the discussion on the security issues to try to frame a little bit the debate afterwards. Today, NATO is basically becoming more and more a collective security organization than a collective defense organization. And I would like, if you allow me, to start with an absolutely non-traditional approach on... Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. To start with an absolutely non-traditional approach about the security definitions. What is security, and how do you understand security? How do we understand security? How do our partners or do all the other big members of the Security Council of the United Nations do understand security? I think when we are today transforming this alliance as we do today, we need to relaunch the debate on the security definition. And I would like to bring you, first of all, to China. To China, in China, and this is the first letter of the Security Council of the United Nations in Chinese, the letter An is a kind of a drawing. And this drawing is like this. You have a roof, a chimney, and a woman under the roof and the chimney. And for the Chinese population, culture, security is understood as my wife is working calmly at home. I think this is very interesting to see how the notion of the culture and the history is bringing this word to the Chinese understanding of security. Now I would like to bring you to another country which is far away from China, which is a NATO member, but a non-Latin language. This is Estonian. Estonia, as you know, is an EU member and a NATO member. Security in Estonia is a very interesting word. It's the word julgeolek, which means basically, I am ready to die bravely. So the Ministry of Security in Estonia is the ministry of the people who are ready to die bravely. Now, if we go to more Latin traditional countries, I would like to stress that the word security is coming and is understood by the history of the various populations who have been living in European countries far before the creation of the European Union and even before the Middle Ages. This is coming from the word securus, which means basically to take care of oneself, to heal oneself, to cultivate one's health. Now, I will not tell you how you define security in the roots and the history in your own country with bezbednost. Interestingly enough, in Croatia, the word sigurnost is being used, and in Albania, the word segurim. And this also has an historical impact and a different way to understand security. And bezbednost, in its own roots, is a very interesting one. If you compare with other Slavic languages, like, for example, in Ukrainian with the word bezpeka, which means the absence of devil, this is security for them, the absence of devil. Or you go to Russia with bezopasnost, which means the total absence of a possible attack, with a strong geographical understanding, physical geographical understanding and territorial understanding of what security should be. I will continue with Arabia. In Arabic, the word amn means basically peace, security, and protection. And for your information, in the Arab world, the word security is also having the same roots as the word in Latin amen that we are using in our religions, Orthodox religions or Christian religions, which means as well peace and perpetuity and stability. So, you see, this is interesting because when we are discussing the security concepts and the security understanding, we have to take into account the understanding of security in NATO member countries and in partner countries and in also other big countries which are becoming security players. Now, if you allow me, I would like, and I will bring this very logic to what I'm saying, I would like to continue to a lesser extent, but with another parallel, a parallel on the understanding on the security providers. Who or what usually is providing security in our societies? Is it international organizations? Not really. These are the states. And if you look at the history of the states and the understanding of the word state in many countries which are NATO members or NATO partners, we can draw quite interesting conclusions which are having an important impact on the understanding of the development of security strategy or a foreign policy. For example, the word state in Russian means государство. This is the word which is being used, and literally it means what is belonging to the Lord. If you say in Serbian or in Ukrainian the word država, it means what I keep, what I have in my hand, which is a little bit different. If you go to the Western Europe cultures, we use the word status, state, which is coming from a document, which is an agreement on which various layers of the society do agree. And if you go even to China, the word state means basically a definite territory with a definite structure inside. So again, this is something which has to be kept in mind when you develop a foreign policy and when you are trying to develop a partnership policy or for other countries a membership policy in various security organizations. And for us as well, it means that we have to take into account in our own reflection when we discuss the new strategic concept, when we discuss the NATO transformations, we have to take into account the way we are being understood by other players. This is the first part of my speech, the various understandings by various cultures, by various histories, by various nations, by various political systems of the word security. But what do we have on the other end? On the other hand, today, in 2009, and for the years to come, we are facing globally threats and challenges. I'm talking about global threats and challenges, which are understood the same way in the various cultures and countries. The word terrorism is a word which has the same content and the same perception in the understanding of a Chinese citizen, of an Australian citizen,